I am hoping to disengage a little bit.
What are you drinking, ladies?
Today, we're going to talk about staff employee engagement during the lockdown. Now, normally, managers, leaders, you have face-to-face meeting, but now you all work from home. So what's happening? Let's welcome our guests. The first one is Nguyen, please.
Hello everyone, can you see my drink? I want to get drunk today. This kind of feeling is really special. So thanks for inviting me here. So just a quick introduction about myself. My name is Thanh from Anphabe. People may call me the Chief Happiness Officer. So my task is always to make people feel inspired and happy at work. And as a personal, I'm trying to make people happy in life too. So it's like Anphabe is a pioneer agency consulting firm on happy workforce solution as well as employer branding. So I think it's great to join you guys today talking about a topic that I really, passionate about, which is engagement, people engagement, but in a very fun and happy way. So thanks for the idea, Jessica and the co-host.
Yeah. Thank you for the invitation, Jessica. And Thanh used to be a co-worker. So, and I think I've known you and KP for as long as I can remember in Vietnam. Well, thank you for having me. And Jessica asked me if there's anything we can't talk about tonight. I said, just let everything roll. There's nothing, it's a secret. And I'm as much an open book. I'm currently the COO of Colliers in Vietnam here, while I also work with different business associations on community work. And happy to see so many old friends and new friends, and hopefully more of them will show their faces and join in the conversation. And let's have some fun.
I got a vodka cranberry with lime and soda.
With vodka and lime.
I'm asking my husband to serve me, and he was so surprised. What you are doing? Why?
Now this is challenging for me. I'm by myself, okay? So I don't know. I'm going to be slow. Otherwise, I'm getting myself in trouble. And it is the middle of the week.
Mine is single malt and.
Oh wow! You're the most expensive one. Yeah. And
right.
Cheers.
Cheers, everyone.
What's your engagement with your staff going?
I need to say in a slightly different tone. I am hoping to disengage a little bit. I think I am doing a pretty good job at the very beginning in terms of engaging. We understand that because we can't see each other, so therefore we need to talk to each other a little bit more. And then suddenly I realized that my professional line and my personal line was blurring. There is no hours that people don't call me or send me a message, and they are talking to me on Saturday and Sundays. And before in the office, someone would come to me, and before they come to me, they would check if am I talking on the phone? Am I in a meeting? They'll be very polite. They'll come to me and say, Winnie, can I get a minute? But with working from home and getting it online, everybody has forgotten about those courtesy. Before, when someone sent me an email, they send me an email, right? And now I will have someone send me an email and then send me a message and say, have you seen my email? And if I am in a meeting...
Cross verification. So most of the calls you are receiving, like you are receiving so many calls now. So mostly on some issues or mental health issues or work issues?
Well, I'm definitely going mental, okay?
So it's you having issue.
I think,
is that anxiety, or, is it so much support they need, or what's going on?
I think it's that everybody was practicing a little bit of caring also. All right.
Oh, that's nice.
I think I am in a position to care about other people. I felt that they actually cares about me. All right. Wow. So I would have people besides, work. They will ask me, Winnie, do you have food? Can you get food? Do you have anything? Do you need help? All kinds of stuff, which is like, I think overwhelming in a way in terms of volume.
It sounds like it's expectations not really matching.
I don't know. The funny thing is that I would be very often the one to tell them is just like, don't blur that line. You need to take a rest. Turn off your computer.
Time management.
Not do that. But somehow I think I'm not doing such a good job myself because I felt that they need me. I should be available. And I think it's like by mistake, I engage them for a longer time than I should be too. So while I'm feeding it, they're feeding me. I'm thinking they need me, but maybe they are thinking that I need them.
Okay.
But let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Winnie, from a leader position, we want to obviously encourage people to contact us and to feel comfortable engaging with us. But from an employee perspective, and when the boss cannot see you working hard per se, or you cannot have a sort of a chit chat with the boss, and to be recognized, isn't it also drives the people to like, I haven't talked to her.
It is. I think absolutely it is. It is linked. I've been one because like we've been working from home starting 4 months ago, and I think I spent the first 2 weeks thinking a lot of how people behavior would change during this time, because this year is different with last year. Last year, we have 3 weeks, but this year like thing would last like very, to me now it feels like forever. So the insight that I got collecting from our own research and also some other research that I read is that people during this time really change the need. And because they change the need, they change the behavior. So there's several key needs that I had pointed out to myself. They want to get updated. Whatever, it's not only business, it's a lot of things. The policy changing, the business result, how is it impact to my comms, and how is it impact to my life, the news, COVID prevention, how do I apply it to work? So basically, we are bombarded with the need for information from employee, all kind of employee, and like it or not, we have to become a kind of information filtering, and we have to become the source of information feeder to them, and that's a lot of work. I totally understand. We need overwhelmed.
I think I'm a little bit self-imposed when it comes to that because like we have been, I would like to think that our organization has done a pretty good job in terms of being transparent and sharing information on a regular basis. And I have good visibility on what my team is doing. We are very realistic in terms of that. It doesn't mean that you present yourself online, meaning you are engaged. All right. It doesn't mean that they are working hard.
There is an illusion on that.
Yes,
too.
and I think our team is reasonable in terms of understanding that those things doesn't play into how we evaluate them. All right. Then, of course, when we are looking for you, I'm expecting a certain level of response within a certain time frame. All right. So I think the first level of anxiety as leaders, I think we've got over with is let's not worry about what time people are doing their work. Instead of we look at the end game. All right, so are the deliverables there? Are they making progress? Rather than are they engaging 8 hours a day? All right.
Okay.
Because it doesn't make sense.
Focus on performance.
Well, the thing is I think as leaders, we have to feel comfortable about that first. All right, and it is not easy. Okay. Now and I think being consistent is also important for us. Online and offline doesn't make too much difference. We have always set the expectation as to, get it done. It's not about coming on time. Of course, as an employee, you have a responsibility of being on time for work. So what I ask my team is that I ask for only one thing, because they have remote login on their time and attendance. I just do me a favor, log in on time every day. All right. That's the only thing that I ask
structure of work,
But so that at least every day you're supposed to be prepared to be online, all right? How you spend the rest of the day, I am not going to look into it minute by minute, but do me a favor. Be available when you're supposed to be available first thing in the morning. And I would make it no qualms. It's like, I don't think I'm asking for too much about that. All right. And because we have, to some degree, when we are in the office, we're already doing flexible time. So I want to see what time they're clocking in, you know, it's like, and when they're clocking out. And if you can't during lockdown, can't do me 2 things a day, is to log in and log out where you should be. That's some problems that we have. And I make it as simple as that.
But Thanh, I think you have some working structure in your company, like a ratio or something.
Because let me go back to the inside that I say, like people want to get updated. The need of being get updated is a lot more. They also have several other needs, which I find is very interesting. The need to be heard. We always tell the employees the need to be heard, but now it's a lot more. Why? Because I observe that in order to have an effective online meeting, we tend to be very quick and fast, and we make decisions on spot. And usually it's only the boss or some people who are more articulate to speak. If you observe, you could say there are people who saying nothing for the whole session, and it's okay for 1 or 2 meetings. But if it happened for several months, and there are people, in my research, there are people who telling me that, you know what, I don't have chance to speak, even though it's silly because everything happens so fast. I feel I'm nobody in the organization. I'm being invisible, and I thought that is such an important insight. So the way I'm trying to give a structure in my team is to not only to get update the information from my side, but also is create a platform for people to speak. So every day, our teams, we check in at 8:45. So that could be about 5 minutes just to chit chat about whatever. And then for the first 3 months, because during the offline time, we always have the first 15 minutes to exercise together. So for the first 3 months of work from home, we do online exercise.
Wow.
And online exercise. And every day,
let's do it.
And every day, good each people would responsible to choose the kind of exercise they like. And they could, instruct others to do. They can open a video or they can instruct by themselves. And for the last 1 month, we try a different thing, which is very interesting. We call it a happiness service. So I provide them a structure, like you only have 15 minutes. You can provide whatever kind of game, we call it service. So you have to provide a service to bring up. The objective of the service is to bring up the positive energy of your colleagues within 15 minutes. And after that 15 minutes, we give 1 minute for the whole team to rate that. And there's a kind of healthy competition in that. And every morning we feel so exciting. Okay, what game today? What kind of activity online we do? So, we have traveled the whole world together. We have eating the whole Vietnam together. We have played lotto. We have played bingo. We played karaoke together. Everything within 15 minutes.
Wow.
So I thought that it's a kind of giving a fun things for people to just show their creativity and show that I'm as it and I can add value to people. And after that 15 minutes, usually we spend the next 20 minutes just to quickly capture what is important thing of different function. And also in that, I don't know if this tip may help you a little bit, Winnie, is like during that 20 minutes, people also know aware that what is important meeting that I am as a CEO joining today. So they would know that they could accept my delay in a certain response, so they don't bug me that much. Initially, for the first 1 month, I wasn't so too overwhelmed with so many people. Everybody want a piece of me. And I feel like I'm a kind of bottleneck of everything. But now since everything is like my calendar, I make my calendar transparent to everyone. And people, there's a system for them to know that what kind of priority of the day of the week, not only for me, but for their function. So it helps people to, provide a little bit structure working online, because I totally agree with you that there's a gray zone between personal life and work life. And we thought that working from home give us more work-life balance, but without structure, actually it's not. Yeah.
So we do need to plan well and structure well.
So from a leader
I got
perspective,
5 second
let's have a
happiness service, because everybody can share.
We are long due for a cheer.
My second.
Coming to the remuneration and compensation during the COVID time, how you are managing that one? Because
Taking the hit is actually the senior management. Besides seniors management, we haven't implemented anything, but we also message the staff that could happen at any given time, because it's very obvious that business is being impacted. And I think this year more so than last year, this time more so than last time, is that we don't see the end of the tunnel yet. And we have to make these difficult positions. And what we have encouraged our head of department to start look at is the situation within the team. We want to understand hardship in advance, so that we create we create the environment that we would have the least impact to people, but at some point of time they know that it has to happen. And then we have promised that if something like that has to happen, it will be advance notification so that people can plan. Now, we are as much as we say that we treat everybody equal, we definitely have set certain threshold and said that if somebody's salary is at a certain level, it doesn't matter what we cut, then those will not be impacted, because we know there will be hardship. Or there will be certain people that they have a specific situation at home, then the head of department will need to understand that and have a conversation with management to start with, so that we know and we take that into consideration. But by no means do we sugarcoat the situation and tell them that things will be okay. While we continue to do it in a certain way, we continue to message that, well, it could be different next month. And we will be giving you advance notice, and if that has to happen, but everybody knows what is the billing situation. We have already done it at the point that every single of our head of departments knows their own budget. They know how they are doing. They know whether business has been happening or not happening. We do very thorough communications in terms of their pipeline. And we keep asking our team to be realistic. Do not just say, give us numbers that you think is going to make me feel better for a moment, but then plunge us into the darkness, sometime down the line. So it's a more mature workforce that we are working and we have been cultivating, so that we teach them how business happens. And as a result, it's I would say more open conversation and realistic expectation in terms of what will happen. And we also said that it may not be about salary cut, it may be about salary deferment, because all our clients, well, even if I have closed business, they still have to pay us. And knowing our client may also be in difficulties, we may have to work hand in hand. So we're teaching that kind of, we're really in a way using all those moments as a teaching moments, because we may not have another opportunity to teach about these things, really. And it's right in front of us right now. So we do it as part of a training.
how about Ms. Thanh?
I absolutely agree with Winnie. I think the transparent and early communication is very important. I think the need now from employee side is that they no longer consider company as a provider for my job, but in a way they also see company as a home. Like, we're taking care for them if they are safe during COVID, have they got the vaccine injection, and we provide food to them, etc. And at the same time, while we're trying to taking care for them as a family member, we also take this chance to let them understand that when mom and dad, let's using a metaphor, when mom and dad doesn't have as much money as normal, let's eat less together. And let's work harder together. So I honestly, looking back for the last 2 years, I thought that it gives us the opportunity to be more than ever being transparent to the employees about the financial situation. And I'm trying to take all of each chance to communicate about that, not about worry about what comes next, but about fuel the positive energy of what kind of creativity solution that we can do differently to add value to our clients, to help our clients, so that they can have advice. And there are pain, during this time everybody is pain, but if we can forget about our pain a little bit and think about other pain and find a solution to have them soften the pain, it could have. And actually last year was quite a good example for this philosophy, because during quarter 2 we had a terrible quarter 2, but we've done all our best to come up with many different solutions, and we have a very good quarter 4. And this year when the heat came in quarter 1, we again going back to this philosophy with with a kind of prepare. And I think so far now, I never think that my teams, even the very lowest level, the newest people, can really understand the kind of overall strategy that clearly if without COVID. And in a way, I'm thankful for that.
So crisis actually provide opportunity.
Right. Well, certainly. So Thanh and Winnie, I mean, for our participants that joined at various times, I guess one of the things, the core thing that's coming out is, as a leader, is very important to not try to be a center of information. You're not a database that you're trying to disseminate information. So keeping your schedule transparent, keeping your expectation transparent, and sharing the information about the company's health transparently is the way to do it. And also from a leadership point of view, it's not just about conducting meeting for business sake, but engaging the people's personal needs, psychological needs of trying to be heard when we cannot be seen. And everybody's working remotely. I think that was the thing. From an employee perspective, it's not just calling and messaging your boss a lot. Is not going to be perceived as you working hard. It's basically following the structure that's been put in place is going to be one of the key things.
We talk about resilience or adaptability of the staff while we have challenging in the workplace. How can we still engage them to focus on their performance and know very well, even if it's hard, they need to focus on work? Is any challenging in this area that two of you can share how you overcome?
I would count myself lucky, okay, that I have a workforce that are quite purposeful in terms of what they do. So they are quite engaged in terms of what they're doing. And I think to some degree, it's a bit of an escape, all right? Because as much as we think that, well, okay, for me, I'm by myself. So working from home, I have full control of my environment. But a lot of my stuff is just like, it goes from, going to work, which is very much their thing. Now they're home, the spouse is home. Now the kids is about to start school, okay? And it is difficult when you have two working parents trying to work online. You have kids, it was summer, and then now they're going back to school. And then you have parents, okay? 3 generations living together. It is a pretty common thing. And it's actually a very taxing environment that they are in. It's just like that let's not even worry about devices. Think about it. You have 2 working parents, you have 2 kids doing online school. Well, a lot of people suddenly find themselves in a situation that how are we going to share the devices to start with? I have staff that giving up their laptop during daytime so that the kids can do online school, and they do their work on the mobile phone. How difficult is that? Really? It's just really, really hard. And so I think we need to take into consideration that some of these things are happening. And sometimes they just need to be engaged and take them away from that environment and do work, because that is their structure. That is something that they have to get out of the family chores, the domestic chores that it's just taken away from them, because when they go to work, they go to lunch. Now they have to make lunch. After making lunch, they have to do the dishes. All right. And honestly, those are serious stuff. and those things actually takes time. And I think we really need to understand that working from home, as much as it sounds like I am free, it is my domain, I have control over everything. I have a lot of staff that are expressing that it is serious difficulties for them to be working from home.
I think it's beyond all the challenge that we have just mentioned so far. I think the biggest challenge for me is how to find a solution, a business solution to go ahead with a lot of, new challenge facing every day in this VUCA world. So I must admit that there was time I feel so overwhelmed, and I feel very different with myself. Normally, usually I know the answer. I know what to do. I know what next. I clearly know my plan. And there was time I just simply don't know. And so what is the solution for that? I must admit that it took me a while because at first I was worried that if I'm showing my vulnerability to the employees, does it make them worry too much? And does that make them that give them extra pressure during this already very stressful situation? And I also realized that during this time, I think not only for us, Anphabe, but many for most the others business, it's about co-creation on the solution. And the solution may come not only from me or not only from my leader, it may come from a very low level staff. So what I train my ways on the way I engage people. I share with them my concern, but of course I have to tone it a little bit, not to make it fearful. But most of the time I share with them the thing that I have been thinking and I'm curious to know. And I tell them I don't have the answer, but I'm very curious to observe a certain trend. And I wonder what would arise after this trend. And I ask a lot of questions. Like, what can we do differently to create new value? What can we apply a different way to solve this situation? Like, we're supposed to have this biggest event of the year this month. If not, then what is other way? So I'm asking a lot of, I initially bombarding with myself, a lot of questions. Now I selectively share those questions to the team. So that they understand.
That's the kind of empowerment, right?
And very often they start to, now I'm thinking back, I think it's a good way for me to train them in a very different way to thinking strategically and be curious and open with whatever happened and be just creative about the solution. And I'm a kind of still in the journey of learning of how a leader can show the vulnerability.
Have you received any call from your client that please help us to engage our staff, please guide us? What during this time, how to manage the skill
all the time.
Skill development?
Everybody has an engagement challenge, and we learn from each other actually.
I think it is a matter of being human, and I won't go so far as to showing a weak side or anything, because if we decided or committed to transparency already, then a lot of times the conversation will touch on different things, and as much as we want to share the woes, I think it's also important to celebrate every little thing, and I think the getting into the habit of celebrate these little things are very important, just to sing each other praises and tell a little bit of this is like, something has happened, and make us happy. And we also try to keep on telling the managers, it's like, it's as much as about us as about our clients. When's the last time you talked to the clients, during this lockdown situation, and they would be starting with like, is it a little bit odd if I send him a message and ask how he is? And I'm kind of like, why is it odd? You don't mean it, If you mean it, I'm just like, I think it's as important, it's just to do it, right? And we found that people are actually responding very well, because if you mean it, then do it. If you really don't feel comfortable, maybe it's not the right time yet, right? But as a person engaged in business, you really should be talking to them. And this is not about COVID or not COVID. You should be in touch anyway, right? I think there is there's quite a bit of difference between an organization like Thanh, which is a pretty more compact team, okay, than working with an organization when you have a lot more staff, all right? And then it is cascading at different level, and what messaging that you are sending out. Now, for me is that if an organization has always been distance, COVID is not going to make much difference to it, and it may sound a little bit forced if you're trying to, suddenly showing that you are very caring and whatnot. Consistency is important, but this may be an opportunity to learn and to adapt, and try something different. But at the end of the day, it has to come from the heart. And I would say that leaders come in all shapes and all sizes. I'm not expecting everybody to be doing the same thing, but I would expect that everybody in a leader position would have a certain level of care of the business, no matter it's direct or indirect towards your staff. You can't engage your staff only during the pandemic or difficult time. It wouldn't work. All right. And it is a matter of, understanding your role as a leader. There are certain expectations.
Winnie, I like what you say. A few minutes ago, you say it's not about us. It's not about us, leader. It's about client. It's about staff. So really, it's a caring and showing your human side.
I think it's important. Thanh is a good example. So being a chief happiness officer, and the purpose is very clear, and for me, my responsibility is a day-to-day of the organization, but it cannot be disconnected with our bigger vision and our longer-term plan in which a strategy the CEO may be implementing. So it is important for me is like, just don't be forced, you need to be true.
Chief Happiness Officer must be one of those unique titles that, at least for me, first time I came across, right? So tell us a little bit about that. I mean, how do you come out with that? And you built a whole company around it.
That's a long story, but let's make a long story short. I started Anphabe, 10 years ago. This year marked our 10 years, a while ago. And I have a title, founder and CEO, as a typical, founder, startup. And our business by that time is just doing employer brandings and employees engagement surveys. And my job is basically just to, typically it's just how to make money to feed myself and my team. And there was days that I didn't feel
being
happy.
Honest, yeah.
I don't like doing something that, you have spent, have like 15 hours of your day feeling like you be dragging on. And I've been asking myself what I really want, and is there anything that I really feel inspired to do? And I write a lot of exercise, writing exercise, and I thought that I'm a kind of sharer. I like to share and I like to inspire people to feel positive and happy. And honestly, 10 years ago, I didn't know if happiness can bring money, can feed us, or it can fit myself, or can it fit my team. But I do write a kind of vision. I want that whatever Anphabe do, it needs to contribute to making people happy. And step by step, I figure it out, Instead of just doing the survey, I'm trying to drive the employee survey into the happiness employee surveys. I'm trying to educate company that if your employee is truly happiness, and by our definition, that is truly engagement, emotionally and rationally, so that they will give you more effort and more loyalty, and that make you happy. So making them happy, making you happy, that is a holistic.
So happiness at work, it's actually a little bit different.
But Thanh is always my happiness colleague before.
And Winnie know me as a person. I always find ways to bring positive energy to people, cheer people up, and I believe that it's worth.
I've known Thanh for 12, 13, 14 years, and then we spent, there's one business trip the two of us spent together in Hanoi, and there was no sleeping moment. We spent the whole night talking. That's how we spent the business trip in Hanoi.
Wow.
But let me ask you though, Thanh, from a, as a business person, if you're a director, or of a team, and you're joining this talk because you want to understand how to engage your team, but part of that really is the business goals and business performance and productivity and meeting your targets. Is there any data point statistic that you can point to say engagement works, and the reason it works is it brings about X productivity or X growth? Is there anything like that?
There is. So basically, as I mentioned, is find engagement in our model. There is rational engagement and emotional engagement. So rational engagement is something you think that working here is right, it's benefit for me. Everybody need that, whoever, even the CEO or the lowest staff, what is the benefit, what is the salary, what is the career and promotion, etc. What in it for me? But at the same time, there's rational the emotional engagement. What kind of positive feeling when I'm working here? Is it about trust? It's about trust. It's about connection. It's about positive feeling and happiness from the small things.
So social security as well.
It is.
I think Google has a research actually has proof the number one factor for team performance is social security. It's they feel safe in a team. They feel they can speak whatever they want to speak, and they won't get bullied or condemned or laughed at. I think that actually connect very well as well.
So usually the rational engagement impact to the loyalty, and the emotional engagement impact to the discretionary effort. And it may be vary by company when we measure, but usually the impact is like that. So during this COVID, we may see that the rational engagement tend to go lower because my salary is cut, my career promotion is being delayed, etc. But it is an opportunity if you can still maintain or even push the emotional engagement through different way. Even those during fearful and pressure, as Winnie and I just shared, you can still push it. So people can still working extra for the company. So together we survive, and hopefully to get more try in the future.
Yeah, and even become more creative and come out with Wow.
I think bottom line is trust. When we are not seeing each other, there are some guessing elements in there. So it is up to you to go down the dark road, the dark tunnel, and thinking that they are not doing what they should be doing. Or you can take the high road and expect them to be mature, to be with me. And if there's no telltale sign that things are going south, we should believe that things are still happening in such a way. I think trust is a very powerful thing when you can't be in the same office.
The highest impact factor, actually. Yeah.
Exactly. Yes, when you can't see each other face to face, and then you just have to come from a place of trust. If you don't have trust, I would say that why are they being employed by me if I don't trust them? I should be letting them go in the first place, because it doesn't add to my level of comfort knowing that I am working with people that's going to worth my time, continue to be investing in. So I think if it's from a leader perspective, I think the first thing you need to ask yourself is like, are we big enough to trust our employees to be doing what they can, knowing that at a time like this, there might be slightly different priority in everybody's life. All right. Yeah. And you know what? An employee that doesn't put work as their number one priority is not a bad employee. All right. And the thing is, like, I don't fault anybody not giving me extra time. But for the time that they are engaged or should be engaged, are they engaging? And if they are, well, I got what I pay for also. So I think it is very important to understand that if you don't trust them, you might as well not employ them. I'm not going to give myself reasons not to sleep at night, okay? I'm going to give myself every reason to go sleep at night at ease. It's because I trust them to be taking care of what they have to take care of, because it is their pride also. It is their delivery. And I think it is very important to come from that place also.
I think
while we are waiting for the questions from participants, especially to Ms. Thanh, have you heard about any distressed client calling you that we need some help from you to like business is not doing well, people are not happy. So whether you can help us to do what you are doing within your company.
I do, because like as a chief happiness officer, one important part of my job is also to inspire people. So I'm joining business leaders as their strategic meetings to share the trends, and I'm also working with HR to share the views to employees about the tips how to make them more happier at work. So I do have a lot of requests being like that, and as I mentioned, is the need of people is changing, because it's in this new normal, the situation is changing. People want to get update, get being cared, get heard, and also have fun a lot more. Before, when we're sitting in the office, I see you, you see me, we didn't have to talk, but now suddenly you are no longer in my view. I just have the need to talk to you on whatever. And that's why, as I shared initially, the need to create the dot online is a lot more. So how we embrace the very human being need, but provide a kind of structure and proper way, not to, making leaders like us feel so overwhelmed and feeling like I don't doing my job well enough, I don't care enough. And still provide people those kind of opportunity that requires out of the box thinking. So at Anphabe, we create a kind of committee just to do this, just that.
Does that also have impact, do you think, going forward, how companies provide trainings to their staffs so that they engage the clients more effectively? Do you think there will be a big change in the industry on the training sector?
It's a big change in people competency. It's a big change in people role. It's a big change in the way company provides inner service like training, engagements. Definitely.
And how should the company be positioning now, preparing, so that they provide the right training to their staff?
Start by just being curious of what is the change. Listening to your employees and listening to this kind of talk to understand how employees changing in their need, and learning from each other on how to provide a different way to serve employees better. And I don't believe that there's one recipe for all, but it's very much about you learn from everyone and trying to adopt it, and something works, something doesn't. But it's just a new mentality. So it is also the chance for company to refresh the culture a bit. So every 6 months in Anphabe, we talk about what kind of culture theme that we should focus on. And the culture theme of us for this 6 months is evolution and co-creation on value. So we have a lot of sessions talking about what kind of evolution that I myself as a leader need to do, and each and every one of employees need to change themselves in terms of the way they create value inside company and outside company, and how we co-create that. And I thought that engagement is also the way that we holding hands together to going through some change.
And going through some climate change, like working climate.
To deal with the external change, we have to change ourselves first. And I believe that the species that last longer is the species that adopt faster. So
I think it's just like
keep saying evolution.
Now change management is new. I should say no. Change management is not new.
It's not
but
new.
But it's just a matter of whether you make it. Whether you make it apparent or not. A business has always been changing, and I think COVID, lockdown, pandemic kind of accelerate certain agendas and
force you to change.
Yeah, force you to consider change at the very least.
So now I was just thinking about September 15. Maybe after September 15, we may need to go back to the office. Do you think you have to prepare for working from office? Will it be a cultural shock?
I don't know. My team has been telling me that I think most of my team said that they can't wait to go back to the office. Thanh, how about your team?
Mine will be a little bit different because now it's 4 months. The first 4 months, everybody loved to go back to office. And there was time we are like morning missing the office, you know. And the second month, I see less of the complaint. The third month, I no longer see it. And now the fourth month, we start thinking of, do we really still need the office? Or do we need to go
You see, I think that's just a difference with different organizations. You know, we
evolution that we have go through for the last 4 months. So
we
now
started with the staff
like,
don't
okay,
mind working
what next?
from home. I have more staff not mind working from home at the beginning, and as we progress, I have most of my staff wanting to go back to the office.
The other way around.
So I think it is about, you know, what kind of work do you do? What level of collaboration? I think age group make a difference. You know, whether they are very savvy, you know, online with technology, and how much of those work doesn't really need face-to-face collaboration. And I'm glad to hear that my staff wanted to go back to work. I think probably because most of my staff, as I said, more mature. When you have kids at home and the parents at home, it's almost impossible for them to perform at a certain level also. So it's going to be interesting to see, because there's just two of us, me and Thanh here, and we are going, you know, polar opposite.
Two different views
already.
With different view, yeah.
It's going polar opposite already in terms of, it'll be interesting to see what people think about what they have to prepare to go back to work.
Yeah, I think thank you very much for being with us. Thank you for really, we learned so much from your sharing, Winnie and Thanh. So thank you very much. Have a last drink.
Thanks for
and then we are going to get off.
Cheers to everyone.
Thank you. I'm going to try some of Thanh's strategy.
Yeah.
Thank you.